congratulations.
Thank you.
So why now?
Well, I've been thinking about retirement for a couple of years and had to find that window of opportunity to be able to make an announcement. And with the completion and approval of the 2017 bond program development and the Alamo plan just a month ago, and also the Frost P3 Tower project and renovation of Historic City Hall underway, I viewed it as a window of opportunity, and I committed to the mayor and council that I would stay through the selection of the next city manager for an orderly transition, but that I'd like to leave no later than June of 2019. So this is that window of opportunity.
A lot, like you mentioned, has happened in the last couple of years within the city, but a constant has been the back and forth between the public safety unions. Mm-hmm. You have been a big target of theirs. Mm-hmm. Has that played into your decision at all to retire?
Not really. We set out on this course to change the collective bargaining agreements that have been in place since 1988, 1989, that needed to change financially for the future sustainability of the city. And I knew when we tackled this and talked with Mayor Castro at the time and the city council and had their full support to make those kinds of changes, I warned the council this is going to be very difficult, but it's something that we need to do or it will bankrupt the city. Not during my tenure, but I felt that that was a financial legacy I couldn't ignore, and prior councils and managers had not addressed the issue. It needed to change, and so we took on that challenge. It has been very difficult, but we were able to mediate a settlement with the police union whereby for the first time since 1988 and before, for the first time they're paying something for their health care for their dependents. And we need to have something that's fair for the employees, our public safety employees, but also that's affordable to the taxpayers in San Antonio. And that's been my goal from the beginning, do what's right for the residents of this community.
When you came to the mayor and said, we need to take this issue up, it needs to be dealt with, did you ever have any idea that it would get as ugly as it did for you personally?
I didn't think it would get this personal. However, I knew that it would be a big challenge. Changing something that's been in place for 25 years is a big, big challenge. We'd changed a number of city contracts in other areas of the organization that had been in place for 25 years, and those were challenging too. But I knew this would be the biggest challenge. I didn't think it would get this personal. They followed a handbook that they have about when you try to make changes, or the city tries to make changes, find a person to vilify and make sure that you're constantly attacking that individual. Unfortunately, that was me. But we were able to take the high road and say, we know what we're trying to accomplish. This is in the best interest for the residents, and we're going to do what we think is right as long as we have the support of the mayor and council.
What was it like for you personally to be that target, not only from the public safety unions, but you've had so many people in San Antonio in general questioning your salary, questioning the bonuses that you receive over the years. That's a very personal thing. How have you dealt with that?
Well, there's a lot of support out there as well, but this is a very difficult job, and perhaps we need to do a better job explaining what is the role of the city manager. I function as the chief executive officer for the organization that has a nearly $3 billion budget, 13,000 employees. I hire all of our city executives, and as we all know, one of my first hires was Police Chief Bill McManus, then Fire Chief Charles Hood, City Engineer Mike Frisbee, promoted Maria Villagomez within the city organization, Lori Houston, hired Dr. Colleen Bridger as our public health director. So I've replaced all of the executive staff with really high-performing people, and I stay very focused on doing what's best for the organization and following city council policy direction. So with 1.5 million people in San Antonio, not everyone's going to agree with the boss. I get that. but the personal attacks have really mostly come from the police and fire unions, and I recognized that they were doing that intentionally because they didn't want their old contracts changed.
How about the passage of Proposition B? Supporters of that said this is a direct message to the city manager. Did you take it as such, and did that influence your decision at all?
No, I didn't take it as that. In fact, it doesn't affect me or my compensation. I do worry about it because the dollar amount, that $300,000, is what I was offered to come to San Antonio in 2005, 13 years ago. And the average salary for city managers at this level in the large cities is much greater than that. And you get what you pay for. The council in 2005 was very interested in recruiting me here, and there was a lot of change that was needed, and they knew that someone had to have the experience and the courage and the stamina to be able to undertake the kinds of changes they were looking for, and I've done my very best to accomplish that for the city.
Looking back, is there something, a moment, a project that you will say, this is my proudest accomplishment as San Antonio City Manager?
That's like asking me to pick who is my favorite child. There are so many. I would say the talent that we've organized within the organization is top-notch. It's the best in the country, and I'm very proud of that. And we have very capable professionals that can succeed me here within the organization. So that's probably one of the proudest accomplishments. The financial management of the city, to be able to earn a AAA bond rating for the city, a first in the city's history back in 2008, and then all three agencies in 2010, and to continue that annually is a very proud accomplishment. The three big bond programs, $2 billion in street and sidewalk, parks, libraries, fire stations, and museums for the community is huge. In the 15 years before I was city manager, the bond programs totaled only $350 million, and we've been able to develop and gain approval from the electorate for $2 billion in needed improvements for this community. So those are all proud accomplishments. The Alamo plan that we just completed in terms of the interpretive plan, now we're moving into actual design of the museum and the restoration of the Alamo Chapel in Long Barrack. All of these things are huge and immensely important. Lastly, and I think this is especially important to a community that is so economically segregated, the equity policies that we've put in place in recent years, equity assessments to look at what areas of the community and what populations are not being served as well as other areas that are more affluent in the community, and how do we devote resources, time, and attention to those areas is also one of my proudest accomplishments.
On the other side of that coin, is there anything that you regret or wish you could have done differently during your tenure here?
No regrets. We do the very best that we can each and every day. And as I said, not everyone agrees with decisions that are made. That's impossible in this kind of business. And yet, if we have a majority supporting the direction, the kinds of work, even those that have disagreed with me say, overall, you've done a great job for San Antonio and you've improved our community. And there isn't any greater gratitude than that.
Is there anything from now to next June that you hope to accomplish or cross off your list before you leave?
Well, I hope that the fire union will come to the table and negotiate a contract. I would like to see that brought to conclusion. It's been too long. Most people don't realize they have failed to negotiate for 4 years. But we did drop the lawsuit this week, and they said that they would come to the table within 7 days if the lawsuit was dropped. And so we're looking forward to that because that does need to be resolved.
Are there any qualities that you have in mind, characteristics of your successor that you would like to see in whoever fills your shoes?
Well, I think following our core values as a city organization, teamwork, someone that is able to work with the team, No one makes the decisions independently, although the buck stops here, so you have to have tough skin to work with integrity, to be innovative. There are always new and other ways to provide services and solve problems, and to be a consummate professional, to be professional and demand excellence in all that we do.
What do you hope that your legacy is when people, look back on your leadership within the city? What do you want them to think of?
That we better serve the residents of the community than ever before, that we raised the level of professionalism of city staff, and that we managed their finances well.
When you look back at the battles with the public safety unions, how will you remember of that time?
Well, I may be writing a book about that, a little handbook for other city managers, how to take this on. Some of the lessons learned, I knew it would be tough. I come from a labor family. My dad was a member of a union. I grew up in the Chicago area. I worked in Michigan the first 15 years of my career, one of the toughest labor states in the country. Had a very good relationship with my unions, and also in Phoenix. We had unions there as well. So this has been a tough battle, but I think in large part because I was trying to change something that had been in place for a very long time, and no one had tried to change that before, even though they knew that change was needed.
Let me check the time here.
You have one more question?
One more question. Okay, so what comes next for you?
I've always worked my entire adult life, actually, since I was 15, even up until my children were born, till I was in labor. I was there in the office. So I know I will continue to do other work. I don't know what that is right now. I do have a couple of opportunities, but I'm not making any decisions yet. I have time to think that through, and I want to continue to contribute to the community.
Interest in the private sector?
Perhaps.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.